Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm going to show you another option for dressing for German 12th night. So, as you can see, I'm wearing something that looks like a choir robe, maybe. It's got big puffy sleeves, and there's no shape to it. So how do I make this into an historically accurate German peasant dress? I do this. I take an apron, very simple apron, and I tie it around my waist. And now I have created a waistline without any shaping of the dress at all. I have my apron, I have my documentable German peasant dress, I have my wool socks on and my leather shoes, and the final touch is an inexpensive straw hat. So now I am dressed as a historically accurate peasant, and this apron's really easy to make. I'm going to show you how to do that in my next video. As for the dress itself, I would recommend that you get a pattern for a choir robe and just gather the big sleeves into a small cuff, and there you go. So that's today's option for German 12th night. See you next time. To start your apron, you need to cut a rectangle of whatever fabric you're using. This happens to be linen. 16th century aprons were often wool. This is about 30 inches wide, 30 inches long by 60 inches wide, the length of the piece of linen. So I'm going to pin the apron into the waistband. The waistband is a piece of linen. It happens to be about 2 1/4 inches wide, which I've then pressed into the center. And we're going to pin the apron to it. I have found the center of the waistband. I'm going to match it up with the center of the apron. Okay, so I know those are the centers. I'm going to start there. I don't know how wide this apron is going to be. I haven't done one in a while. So by starting in the center and pleating the fabric into the waistband, you're going to get approximately an equal amount on either side. So we're just going to pleat using our fingers. You can mark this off so that the pleats are totally even. If that's your prerogative, go for it. I don't do that because it looks more authentic if it's not done with great precision. I mean, it's going to look like it's precise to the naked eye, but if you came along and measured it, it's not going to be precise. So let me fix this so you can see better. Here we go. At this point, Basil, you can speed it up. So let's talk about this for a minute. I have basted this into place with a large stitch of dark thread so that you can see that I've done it. If you want to be historically accurate and sew this by hand, basting this side hem into place is a good way to keep it in place until you have time to come back and work on it using a needle. It's a great project for sitting in front of the TV, watching a movie, in your car, waiting in a doctor's office, any place where you're sitting and wanting something to do. So you can then sew this down with white thread and then remove the big basting stitches. It's important to have the sides finished before you pleat this into the waistband, because you don't want to have a raw edge out here. So before we sew this, I'm just going to pick out a couple of stitches here to get them out of the way. All right. So now we're going to pleat the other side. And I'm gonna make the pleats go in the same direction. Because of the way this is run out, I'm not gonna make this into a pleat. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it there. Yep, just gonna leave it. So now that we have this all pinned together, I'm gonna sew this using the sewing machine. So now the apron is attached to the waistband. And now we're going to fold this over to create the waistband. So this section is for my friend Annie, who wanted to know how I make my apron strings. And this is how I do it. This apron waistband is all in one. I'm not sewing a tube of fabric and turning it right side out. All I'm doing is I'm pinning this down the whole length of the apron string. And then I'm whip stitching this closed. And that's how I make my apron. That's how this apron was made. I know it's hard to see on camera because I matched the thread to the color of the fabric really closely. But these apron strings were made just like this, and they're whip stitched together. So the finished product is going to look like this from the outside. This apron's a whole lot bigger than the apron that I was just demonstrating on, but that's how I do it. This becomes this once you sew it together. And that's the secret of apron strings. Thanks. See you next time.